everybody. So I missed you guys last week. It was mainly because we ran out of time and I didn't have Leslie here, so I couldn't come up here, but I had every intention. But here we are today. I wanted to address the issue of wrist pain when practicing yoga. So I really want to focus our efforts on what it entails for you to have a safe practice as you put a lot of weight on your wrists sometimes. And those of us who have lupus, unfortunately, have a lot of carpal tunnel issues as well as neck issues, a lot of just different pains and aches in our joints, right? So with that being said, I want you to know that wrists are an extension of our cervical spine. There's nerve roots at our neurological system, and it extends out and innervates and sort of signals as well as allow us to have the touch and feel and have this voluntary motor control. That pathway or connectivity is absolutely required. But when we practice yoga, a lot of the times what I see is a lot of sinking into our shoulders, meaning we're not activating and using the muscles properly to stabilize, but we start to sink down and really move just our bones for the sake of moving our bones without activating the proper muscles. Just like when we walk, our feet requires a lot of motion and movement. I want you to learn to grip the mat with your hands and fingertips. And then I want you to really stabilize the shoulders, like actively pushing back. So we're going to kind of do that in an open chain without putting any pressure onto our hands and wrists. And you guys can kind of tell me how that worked out for you, okay? Let's just kind of roll our wrists clockwise. You can keep your keep a fist or keep your fingers open and then go counterclockwise. I don't know about you. Sometimes the lupus affects you in ways where sometimes you wake up with some achiness in certain joints, and that's why your rheumatologist, they should be checking all your joints every time you go in and asks you if you have pains and aches and pains in your joints. They always look at your hands. So be mindful of that, and then just make a big fist and then release. Make a fist and release. Fist and release. And it's just a good idea to kind of do that. Open and close, open and close, open and close as fast as possible. And that really works your forearm muscles, you guys. Okay? With that being said, palm side facing outside away from you, fingertips pointing downward, you're going to pull all 5 fingers, right, towards you. And see if you can create this nice pull and stretch on this side. I have my palms flat on my thigh, or you can even do it on the floor. It depends on how flexible you are. If it's too much, don't, overpress. Just only go as far as you can go. And just appreciate that stretch there and make sure it's just not too much. And you can do both forearms at the same time. And when you do this on the mat, without putting too much weight on it, you can kind of go back and forth to kind of play with what kind of a stretch you got going on or the flexibility. Yoga requires a lot of flexibility into your wrists. Flexibility without strength and stability is very dangerous. And so we want to learn how to use the strength and stability that it requires as well. And it's a cultivated experience. So try to pay attention and apply all this that you're learning from me. So fingers pointed down, palm facing you this time. Pull all 5 fingers towards you, and you should feel a good stretch on the opposite side this time, right? This is the extensor tendons of our wrists. This is the flexor tendon. So we did this stretch, and you felt it here. This time we're pulling it here, and it's on the outer surface, right? That's the extensor tendons. So you want to pull that way, and you should feel a good pull right there. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And you can do the same over here. And if you want to, you can sort of load up some weight onto your wrists and kind of shift your way back and forth like so. Okay? And then just shake your hands out and shake them out above you. And just make fists and open them up just as an exercise for your forearms, because you should work all your forearms like you see my muscles, right? And it gets really tiring because we don't use our hands in that way. So do that and shake it out again and relax. And remember how I told you the pathway of the nerve endings down into our fingertips originate in our neck. So we need to pay attention and take care of our neck as well as the posture and really open up the pathway so that the nerve signals can go uninterrupted, right? So bend your neck all the way down and roll it to the right and then roll it to the left. Roll it to the right and roll it to the left. Roll it to the right and roll it to the left and back center and up and gaze up. Raise your arms up overhead, interlace your hands, pull up. Take a deep breath in and stretch into your under armpits because that's where all the nerve pathways are. It's called specifically brachial plexus. It's like so many nerve endings, like just jiving and creating all kinds of connections to your muscles. So we want to free up that space. Is why that stretch feels so good. And bend over to the right side, gaze up and back as you inhale. Inhale up, really extend your spine and go left and back. Bring your hands down, right arm up and bend over to the left side and back and bend over to the right side and gaze up and back and again up and down and left and down. So we're going to now come onto our hands and knees, and this is where I think you tend to use a lot of your shoulder, well actually, let me say that differently. You tend to sink into your shoulders a lot. Do you see my shoulders like that? So I'm sinking down, I'm not using any of my muscles. I want you to actively push, 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 push the floor away with all 5 fingertips. And you see the whitening into your fingertips. And I want you to learn to grip your mat with your hands. So it's not all on your hands. And then learn how much range of motion you've got without bending your elbows. Push, push, push. This is called shoulder protraction. And then let it sink. And push, 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 push. And back. And push, push, push. And back. And since right now I don't have the whole weight of my hands on my wrist, I just want to go all the way forward. See how far we can go. You see how like that stretches into that wrist extension and then pull back. And again, all the way forward. All the while I want you to continue to grip the mat with your fingertips and all the way up and back. All the way up and back, and all the way up and back. And learn to sort of work on that. And then those of you who do have carpal tunnel, you might do better by making a fist and doing it this way, or sometimes placing a pad under your wrist helps as well to take the stress of stress into your wrists by putting some cushion under the wrist when you're practicing yoga. These are some tips that I can give you, and sometimes using a yoga block on underneath your hands also, because it gives you something to grip against, not so much onto your wrists. But it's going to be all about learning how to use your shoulder girdle and really stabilize them, right? So if that hurts you, you can just sit here, and I'm going to kind of go sideways. You sit here nice and tall, push, push. Imagine there's some mass in front of you under your palms, and you just push that away and pull back. Push, 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 and back. And make sure the shoulders stay down away from your ears. Push, 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 and back. And again, push, 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 and back. And then shake your hands out. I hope that helped those of you who had wrist issues with the yoga practice. And please give me feedback on what you would want help with, so then I can address those issues in our yoga videos going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a beautiful day out here today, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend.